Hey, it's funny seeing you here. Are you here to also learn and talk about the white power movement? Well, wonderful. Not the white power movement, that's not wonderful. But I'm glad you're here for week number 4. It's crazy that we've made it this far in the term already, more than halfway done. I should get around to grading those midterms and your thought videos this week, so I'll make sure that I get those grades submitted to you. As always, if you have any questions about anything, please reach out to me and let me know. You have a paper due this week that should analyze the content for this week as well. So last week we looked at some of the machinations historically that led to the rise of the white power movement here in the United States. The week prior to that we talked about bioterrorism, and we talked about what that might look like and some of the tenuous relationships that exist between countries that are maintaining the smallpox virus. The week before that, we talked about enhanced interrogation, some of the sticky political issues that can stem from trying to combat terrorism and the disparate forms that it takes. This week, I want you to focus on the individual. So Christian Picciolini gives us an entry point to trying to understand why an individual might get pulled into a terror group. He comes from a very interesting background. He had parents in his life and he wasn't raised in a particularly difficult economic circumstance, but he found something ideologically that spoke to him and brought him into the movement. And I want you in your papers this week to focus on what might pull an individual into a terror group, into an act of terrorism. You don't have to do that within the context of the white power movement, although that's where we're spending our time with the context this week. But if you'd like to apply some of the sociological and psychological theories that you're familiar with to individuals that join other types of terror organizations, that's perfectly fine as well. But I think Christian Picciolini's story can provide us with some really interesting insight into the way that social learning theory might apply to why someone gets pulled into a terror group. You could also use things like self-control theory or social control theory to kind of talk about the breakdown in controls in his life and how that might lead him into the stage that he found himself in. If you want to look at how difficult it is for people to extricate themselves from terror groups or separate themselves from these ideologies that they've bought into for a period of their lives, explore that a little bit. If you'd like to compare and contrast what brought Christian into his situation and might bring somebody else into a different type of terror situation, that's a great way to go in your papers as well. But I think this week, my suggestion is to take some time to analyze the individual. It's one of the reasons that I chose the book to have you read, so that we could move from the macro level to the micro level and try and understand it on a little bit more of a personal issue. Remember, next week we're moving away from homegrown terrorism here in the United States, and we're going to move into looking at terror groups that exist in Europe. And so I hope you enjoy what we're going to be learning about over the next couple weeks as well. So if you have any questions about the papers or any past assignments, if you want to reach out to me and bounce any ideas off of me for your papers this week, feel free to shoot me an email and we can stay in touch. I hope you're having a great summer so far, and I look forward to seeing what you have to say about individual participation in terror groups in your papers this week.